Hey everyone, Wade and Ryan here for NFL in London. Week 1 is done, man.
It was a bit
Some tight
ugly.
games,
It was a
some
bit
tight,
ugly.
interesting games. It was some ugliness, especially in fantasy for a lot of people. A lot of guys not getting, some guys getting injured, and some losses. I'm 2-0 in fantasy,
I
barely.
went I went 2-1. Luckily, I had Josh Allen. I was dead in the water. Just like Baltimore's
Mm,
win percentage, mine was
yeah,
like 1%. And then Josh Allen stepped on the field and I somehow won. So God bless that man. He does it again.
he did it for sure, man. There's some crazy games we went through. Some, obviously interesting thing we talked about, obviously spitting and slapping and all the childish behavior that was seen, as well as some injuries. So we'll go through all the games, and then we're also going to talk about the TNF as well. You watched the games. I don't know. There was a lot of fans, UK fans, complaining about not only Sky Sports coverage but also Channel 5. Did you happen to watch any of that,
I
or?
didn't no, I didn't say the Channel 5. I mean, it was all the same. It was just kind of getting used to being watching all these games again. Like, where do I keep my
Yeah,
attention? What do I watch? My brain wasn't ready for it. It was like an overload of just information and games, and I was just constantly, checking my bets, checking my fantasy, and I couldn't really focus on one game until kind of later the
yeah.
next day, and I could kind of watch it a bit and get it. But man, it's so nice to have it back, and what a way to end it on Sunday night with just a absolute game of the year to start the season. So it was a
Yeah, well,
perfect
we'll get
end
into the
to
Monday game, which was
we'll get
not a
into
great
it.
way to end the season as well. And we did talk about the game in Brazil as well. We sort of mentioned on this, but big victory there for the Chargers. Looking good. Patrick Mahomes gets stifled. They got to play the Eagles this week, which is not going to be a good start for them. But a good little roll there for Justin Herbert, looking very good in this game as they were able to win 27-21. Herbert 25 for 34, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns. Mahomes was not looking that great.
Well, I
And of course,
actually thought Mahomes played pretty good, to be perfectly
he was
honest
all
with you.
right. I
I
mean,
thought, I mean, like the guy lost his number one receiver again, so he's down Rasheed Rice and Worthy. Who knows how long
yeah,
Worthy's going to be out? We don't really know. Travis Kelsey, even though he had that one big play, still looks slow. He took a nice
yeah,
bitch slap to the face, just little backhand or one of these to the face. I just thought their defense looked bad. I think that was the
yeah,
difference. I thought their offense, Hollywood Brown caught like 10 balls, but Patrick Mahomes had that crazy throw on fourth down. I think it was fourth down
yeah,
to Hollywood Brown, which is wide open. Only a few guys can make that throw. He ran really well. So, and I think he was just let down by a lot of people. Pacheco was terrible. We heard all this stuff like Pacheco's back. I never really been a big fan of Pacheco. I think he has his moments and that his funny running style that he does. I think a lot of people just
yeah,
give him credit, but he never dominates. He's just there. I think they need to, when you see like Lamar and Derrick Henry, it must be like, Patrick Mahomes just like, can I get a running back? Like it was
yeah,
almost like he needs one desperately. But to me, yeah, the story of the whole game was Herbert. He looked fantastic. He
yeah.
just looked in complete command, dicing it everywhere. And Johnson feels like a guy a couple of seasons ago thought was over. This guy was a bust. He's
Yeah,
back, but Keenan Allen was the biggest surprise to me. He just
yeah,
looked like the fountain of youth guy. Like he's gonna get injured in about 8 weeks or
sure.
something after, but he's gonna be on pace to have a really good year. And it's amazing how many teams just keep ignoring this guy. And everywhere, even with the Bears last year, he had his moments where he had 2 touchdown games where he looked to the guy on
Yeah.
third down. He's just that guy you can depend on third down. So big win by the Chargers, but and Chiefs have it really tough now, right? Got to go to the Eagles
Yeah.
this week. Got tough games coming up. And you don't have any weapons. Rasheed Rice is out for 6. So it could start ugly for the Chiefs if they can't kind of fix things.
Yeah, which is unlikely for them being able to start weak like that. It was the dominance of Justin Herbert, the pocket control, the way, as you said, with Keenan Allen, being able to have a bunch of receivers to spread the ball around, getting some running game going. When you're playing away, you're playing in Brazil, and there was a lot of guys that were sick. There was a lot of guys that had the stomach bug in this game. So, whether it's food or water, whatever happened, there's a lot of guys not healthy. So I'm sure they're going to be happy to be back in California and ready to roll. Let's go through some of the other games. We'll start it out in the battle of the NFC South, where it was Tampa Bay versus Tampa Bay versus Atlanta Falcons, and it was not Bijan, Amika Egbuka, the rookie in this one. 4 for 6, 2 touchdowns, 67 yards. Made it look easy in this game. Panic struggled in this one. Both running backs struggled. Bucky Irving and Bijan struggled in this one. Buccaneers get the win 23-20 as the crestfallen Falcons fall to
Yeah,
0-1.
Yeah, they couldn't get anything going on the ground. Like Bijan got 100 yards receiving, so he still had a decent
Yeah.
game. But to me, it was just this is just the Falcons. Again, this has been something that's going on for the last couple of years. Like coup has cost them. I can't
Yeah.
remember the number of games over the past couple of years where I'm watching coup step up for a game-winning field goal and just whiff it. This dude is on his last legs. I'd be surprised if he's, the kicker by the end of the year.
Yeah.
You just can't keep losing games like this. Like Penix threw for almost 300 and a touchdown. He got Pitts involved, 7 catches, 59 yards. You don't really see that often.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, Baker was really struggling. He wasn't really he ended up with 3 touchdowns, but only 167 yards. Wasn't
Hmm.
really out there slinging it, even though, you know, and even Bucky Irving, yeah, like you said, 14 for 37. He just couldn't really get anything going. It's a two kind of teams who know each other, and these are the games that they always come down to this. And the Bucks missed a kick to kind of keep the Falcons in it, and then the Falcons go down and miss a kick. It's classic NFC South Benny Hill draw,
Yeah.
Benny Hill football, where just nobody wanted to win this game. It felt like so someone had to lose it, and it was old coup.
It was old coup. Let's move to the next game, which was a really exciting game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Jets, back and forth. Pittsburgh's defense did not look good. Aaron Rodgers, had 4 touchdowns, 244
He's
yards.
back, baby.
Like to stick it back. He's back.
Back.
It was the running game of the Jets that looked good. Justin Fields stepping in. A lot of Bears fans going, "We got rid of that guy." But he looked good,
Yeah, he looked
and
good, huh?
I was surprised at how soft the Pittsburgh defense looked. Jets made it look easy on them, but this is a real back and forth game. As in the end, the Steelers win 34-32. What were your thoughts on this game?
This was the Sky game, right? So we were everyone was laughing at it. We're like, this is the game they chose for Sky. Like I thought it would be Tampa, Atlanta. Felt like better game. And then out of all, you're watching all the other games like Bengals, scoring no points, right? And you're like, this game is just nonstop back and forth. And it
Yeah,
just felt like I don't know what I was more surprised with. I don't know if I was more surprised with the Jets offense or how bad the Jets defense was as well, and the Pittsburgh
yeah,
defenses. Like these are not two guys. Like this is number one. Like Aaron Rodgers is not mobile. They should be able to kind of step with them. This is what I don't know what happened to this Jets D, which was a couple of years ago, was the hardest hitting defense. You couldn't move it on them. They were just like when they had Salah, and it just feels like ever since they lost him, the wheels have come completely off. And if you need Justin Fields should getting you 32 points should be enough for the Jets to win with that
yeah,
defense. That is inexcusable that you let Aaron Rodgers come into is it India come into your house and put up,
yeah,
4 touchdowns on you. And they only had 37 yards rushing. DK Metcalf looked good, but it was a lot of still dinking and dunking. Rodgers looked good, don't get me wrong, but if I'm
hmm,
the Jets D, it was a classic Jets loss, came down to the wire. Boswell hitting 60-yarders. And
yeah,
it just felt like, I don't know, Justin Fields can get you that win, but if you need him to kind of at the end of the game, go Josh Allen or be Mahomes or be that guy who's going to take you down. Ramsey made a great play at the end of the game to break up that pass on to
yeah,
end the game. So, give Pittsburgh, but if Pittsburgh's giving up 32 to the Jets, like when they got to play Baltimore, they're going to be
yeah.
pretty worried. And they got to play the Bengals. Unless this is like a new Jets team. Like, let's give them a bit of credit. Fields looked good. Brees Hall looked fresh. Garrett Wilson looked good. All the people I swore I wouldn't touch in fantasy, all in this game were dominant. So it was just one of those days in fantasy. I think having the Jets play exciting football is just good for the NFL because it's been a while.
Yeah, both of these in an offensive game, you would assume that a game like this would be under. When they both put together, you got 65 points between them. You sort of go, wow, they're 66. This is a hell of a game. And it was a hell of a game. And even the fire alarms go off when I do that. I will go on to the next game, which was a big game. The Colts have, in 11 years, have not won an opening day. And they snapped that when they
Really?
beat the Dolphins 33-8. Daniel Jones looking like the second coming. And the Dolphins, Tua, everyone, the defense, the offensive line, there's talk that Mike McDaniel is getting the petitions to fire him. They just looked hapless in this game
Yeah.
as the Colts run over them 33-8. Jonathan Taylor, 71 yards. Pittman had a good game in this one as well. And Daniel Jones, 22 for 29, 272 yards with 1 touchdown. This was embarrassing for Miami.
Yeah, it was really bad. I thought they were going to be bad. I didn't think they were going to be this bad. This looks like a team that just doesn't want to play for this coach. Defense that's completely, again, they didn't really have any pieces. They lost guys with injury. They've kind of just been a hapless off and the offense. And Tua was just through some of the
Mm.
worst picks. He just fumbles and it gets a turn. Tua does this thing where he gets turnovers in like almost in bunches where it just happens, and then you're down 27. And to me, like Daniel Jones, this is the as great a start. Richardson must have just been like, I could have put up good numbers against this Dolphins
Yeah.
team. They look good, but it's to me, it's like I don't even know what to take from this because are the Dolphins this bad, or is Daniel Jones having this reclamation project where he's going to be able to kind of come in and do what kind of Sam Darnold did? Maybe it is. I'm kind of excited to see the Colts next week, but I don't think there's any chance Mike McDaniel rights this ship. You saw Tyreek Hill in like the first quarter having sideline stuff. I think he's as good as gone. And then what?
Yeah.
You, that Jalen Waddle who did nothing out there as well. Like and it's grim. It's grim. It's going to be a bad year for Miami. I think they're going to be one of the worst teams in football. It looks like, unfortunately for them.
There's no way to see that they could get any better from this. It was absolutely atrocious
No,
play. They looked
there's nothing.
lost, and it's week one. You're looking at A-Chain with 100 or 55 yards. But Tua was one touchdown, 2 interceptions. He was 14 for 23 with 114 yards. He just looked
Terrible.
hapless. And you sort of go, oh, well, they're better at home. This was against the Colts. I mean, as you say, once they play teams like Buffalo, even you're just
Especially
looking
on
at a smoke show.
You're in a dome. You should the speed.
Yeah.
This is a speed advantage that you have, and you can definitely. This is also the problem where they've just ignored the offensive line for so long. You got a guy like Tua who needs time, and again to even make it to his second read, and he's already got people in his face. It's a bad football team, badly coached, and now just a liability at quarterback who you can't really try. It's a nightmare scenario for everyone except the
Right.
AFC East, the rest of the
It was
AFC.
a nightmare. Well, we go to the AFC East next, where Geno Smith. Everyone wanted to know, is he back? Well, he was back. 362 yards. He was 24 for 34, 362 yards, 1 touchdown. Ashton Genty had 19 carries for 38 yards and a touchdown. And Boot for New England had 6 receptions, 103 yards. Not really a big game. I mean, it was 10-7 heading into the half, and then the Raiders put on some stuff in the second half. Patriots only got a field goal in the second half. Slow game. You thought it'd be more defensively minded. It was quite defensively minded, but Pete Carroll gets his first win for the Raiders. Not a great game, but effective game, and the Raiders get the W.
Yeah, it was a bit. Like it was good. I thought the Raiders were good. I thought, even they came out opening drive, scored a nice touchdown. Then they kind of went silent. They kind of let New England kind of stay in the game, and New England really couldn't get anything going. Drake May was disappointing, I'd say, considering what I thought he was going to be. For you're not going up against a great Oakland offense. You're at home. You got Travion Henderson, who everyone thinks is going to be. He only did 5 for 27. Again, you just lack receivers. You lack weapons, and it's going to get even harder when you play good teams. The fact that they don't have Christian Gonzalez, which kind of really hurts their defense, which kind of let Geno be able to throw it as much. I think if you're the Pats, I think this is a really disappointing opening week. I think, again, with the excitement of Vrabel coming in, Drake May taking that second-year jump, you didn't surround him with anything. You surrounded him with Stephon Diggs, who's coming off a knee injury. And he had 57 yards. That's what Stephon Diggs is going to do. He's going to get you a couple 100-yard games. He's going to have some big plays, but it's 32 coming off an ACL injury. As much as, you think Ramondre or Trevion Henderson, if you don't even have the offensive line to kind of get this going, it just feels like Drake May is kind of going to be just stuck in this situation all year because they've just continued to give him elite weapons because it's not like he's Josh Allen already at that level and give him anybody and he can make it work like Tom Brady used to did. Like he needs weapons, he needs protection, and I was not impressed with the Patriots this week.
No, and you talk about someone like Vrabel who's defensively minded. They didn't really seem to be that defensively minded. Like they were okay, but it just seemed like one of those games that's like they just seemed to be the week one foggy game. Everyone just seemed to be sort of getting through, but no one really seemed to be that demonstrative. And you go, well, for a lot of people that are saying that the Patriots are going to make the playoffs this year, it didn't look like it in this game. It looked like they were very much struggling in this game, trying to score against a Vegas team, that had some good defense, but you could score on them. But a good win for the Raiders. We head down to the Saints, who lost 20-13. Kyler Murray was feeling sick. he didn't feel good, but he still threw for 2
He had a
touchdown
tummy
passes in
ache.
this
He had
one.
a tummy ache.
Yeah, he's a little tummy ache, not like the guys in Brazil who were pooping out their lungs. Trey Benson had 8 carries for 69 yards in this one. Kamara had a touchdown in it. Marvin Harrison finally get his touchdown in it. Big thing for Kellen Moore coming out, but they didn't look horrible in terms of it. I mean, Spencer Rattler was 27 for 46 for 214 yards with a 70.4 rating. Didn't look
I
great. He didn't
mean,
have a lot of tools, but, I guess even with a sick tummy, I thought maybe they would stomp out a bit more against an easy opponent. Like
yeah.
should be the easy wins, and it felt like it didn't make it that
Well,
easy.
yeah, they came down to the wire, right? Like the Saints had a chance
Hmm.
to tie this right at the end. And they're sitting there. You're like, come on, you're on a dome. You got, you came out early, scored touchdowns. You got Kyler, you got James Conner didn't have a good game, 12 for 39. Trey
Hmm.
McBride and Marvin Harrison, those are your two guys. They had all right games, but again, 70 yards, 60 yards. It's not dominant. But again, if you're going to be in this division with, Seattle, San Francisco, and these are the teams you got to take care of business. And it just feels like Kyler's just going to be Kyler again. It doesn't feel like, oh, this is Kyler. This is the year he's figured it out. It's like, yeah, this
Yeah.
is a Kyler. This is a Kyler game.
Yeah.
7 rushes for 38 yards, 160 yards passing against a crappy defense. A team you should absolutely crush. So great. I'm kind of out on the car. I was excited to see, is Marvin Harrison going to just explode and go off? And James Conner's good, but he's getting old. He got 30. He's got no
Hmm.
explosiveness. He'll get you some
Yeah.
nice little. He had 4 receptions for 5 yards. That's James Conner. So to
Yeah.
me, I think the Saints were, I'd say, better, but I'm not impressed by either performances really.
No. Well, if we want to talk disappointment, let's talk about the other New York team, where the
Ugh.
Giants were beat 21-6 by the Commanders, who, the Commanders were still struggling to seem to put things away for them. It was nice for the running game. A lot of people went crazy on fantasy trying to pick up Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, who had 82 yards and a touchdown in this one. Jane Daniels was okay, sophomore slump. I don't know, 19 for 30, 233 yards and a touchdown. Russell Wilson just looked horrible. And the defense, I thought, for the Giants would be a bit stronger with that front line, but they didn't seem that big. It was just, again, this seemed like a fog bowl. These guys didn't really seem to be in it, but Russell Wilson was just atrocious.
I mean, it feels like Russell Wilson must have some sort of like Epstein blackmail list on all coaches or something. Because the reason anyone's putting him back in the onto the field to play football is astonishing. Dable's job's on the line, right? The only
Yeah,
chance Dable has to succeed in this league right now is if Jackson Dart hits. Playing
yeah,
Russell Wilson to the point where you're going to piss off 90% of your team, and then but it's going to be too late. You're going to be like, what, week 13 you start him? By then you're probably already fired. Stop playing
yeah,
Russell Wilson. I don't feel like he's that guy, like, oh, the team's going to stick up for him, like Rudy handing in their T-shirts if Russ doesn't start,
yeah.
right? I feel like you got to get him out there. Bring in Jackson Dart. Look at JJ McCarthy. He was terrible for 3 quarters and then played great. Let him fail. Let him do it against teams like the Commanders. I don't know who they play next week, but I mean,
Green
I'd be
Bay.
a I
Oh,
would
not
be
New York. Commanders play Green
no,
Bay.
I would be astonished if Brian Dable puts Russell Wilson back on that field with that offense and tells his team it's like this is the best chance we have to win. Even though Jackson Dart looked great in the preseason. It's not like Russ was out there cooking in the preseason. He did nothing. If Dable does that, he should just quit and just lie on a train tracks and just end it because he has no reason to ever play Russell. Russell Wilson should never be a starter in this league ever again after that game. He was terrible.
Yeah, you could hear the
Terrible.
hesitation in Dable's voice after the game where it's like, oh, God, what do we do? Because the media is going to be all over it. I don't know if they're worried that they put Jackson Dart out and he gets hurt or that he sucks and then
What?
they've got nothing. I mean, to your point, you should put him out there. Don't forget about Jameis, but, put Jackson Dart out, sell some jerseys, get some kids excited about the game. But it was just really bad. And like the Dolphins, you sort of wonder and go, geez, this is a team. I don't know how they're going to get better. I don't know how they're going to put this together. We head down to Jacksonville, where Trevor Lawrence brought his newborn baby in a romping of the Panthers 26-10. Bryce Young, for as good as he looked at the end of last season, did not look good. It was Travis Etienne Jr., though, with 16
Yeah.
carries, 143 yards. It looked great. And of course, Jacksonville traded Tank Bigsby. to the
Let's
Eagles this week as well. They're like, hey, we got our guy. This is good. McMillan for Carolina, the rookie, 5 receptions, 68 yards, but it's Trevor Lawrence, 19 for 31, 178 yards, 1 touchdown. But it was 17 points in that second quarter that did it for them. It was 20 to 3 heading in, and there was nothing going on for them after that. Nobody scored in the
no.
third quarter, but
It
they
was
get the win, and that's what they need to start going.
it was I man, I don't know. But I'm kind of like this was the year Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be like, all right, I'm worth the 200 million, and this is what you did.
Yeah,
78 yards against one of the worst defenses in football. Yeah, there's a big weather delay, but Brian Thomas Jr. had 1 catch for 11 yards. Travis
yeah,
Hunter, you brought in 6 for 33, 5 yards a catch. What do you do? You just, yeah, sure, maybe Travis Etienne kind of took over, but he only had 16 carries. It's not like he did 30 and they just
yeah.
ran it down their throat all game. So to me, I don't know. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to put it together. I think he's going to have a few games, but if you can't do it against the Panthers when Bryce Young and the other boy is playing terribly and not playing well at all and keeps giving you opportunities and you couldn't do anything. Again, yeah, Jacksonville got the win. It looks convincing. It looks like, oh, but to me, I don't know. I didn't see it with Trevor Lawrence today. I thought he looked just like a middle of the road quarterback on a and it was saved because if Travis Etienne didn't run for 143, this game's like 12-10 probably.
Yeah.
It
Let's
was
talk about the
terrible.
Battle of Ohio. We'll talk about the Battle of Ohio, where we said the Browns would cover, and they did, and they could have won it. The Bengals
They should have won
defense,
it.
they should have won it. The Bengals defense did look better than people thought. But, Joe Burrow, wasn't blowing it up. It was Flacco, 31 for 45, 290 yards, 1 touchdown. It was the Bengals defense that helped save them, though, in a 17-6 victory. Nobody scored in the fourth quarter. And the Browns, were frustrating. They frustrated them. They frustrated themselves in this one. This should have been a game where Cleveland ran away with it, or not ran away, but at least got the win, and they didn't. But Cincinnati pulls out a narrow win, a 1-point win. It's still a win,
Yeah, it was.
but we almost got beat by the Browns.
They had 7 yards of offense in the second half. Cincinnati,
Yeah.
7 in the whole second half. It was terrible. I'm sorry, Cincinnati. You did everything in your power to prove that you're awful at the beginning of seasons, and this is what you paid. How what? 70 million, what, 100 million of your offense, and you could it's got 7 yards of offense in the second half.
Yeah.
Against yes, this Cleveland defense is good. They have pieces. At one play, there was one play where Joe Burrow looked like he got absolutely run over by a train at one point. This highlight, I don't know who
Yeah.
did it, but it was painful to watch. And Flacco's 2 interceptions were flukes. They were ones that kind of
Yeah.
just popped up back in the air. 2 of them happened. One at the
Yeah.
end of the game. The kicker misses one from like 30 yards. It was so Brownsy. It was the most Brownsy game ever. But if I'm Cincinnati, I don't feel any good about that game. You know,
Yeah.
Jamar Chase getting the big money, 26 yards. Like
Yeah.
T. Higgins, 33 yards. What Chase Brown didn't do anything. It was ugly. And uh, I'm sorry. I'm not going to say Cincinnati's defense was great. Like he played Joe Flacco and who was that running back? Not even Dylan Sampson. You know,
Dylan Sampson.
like
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you gave up 20 points to this Cleveland offense, that's a bad game. So you played all right, I would say. But if I'm Cincinnati, they got Jacksonville, I think, next week, so there'll probably
Yeah.
be a big shootout. But if fantasy owners, especially someone like me who owns Jamar Chase, was not very happy watching this game, and it felt like, yeah, this is the Bengals again. They're not going to be any different this year, but
No.
it's one game. It's one game. You don't want to overreact, but if that's the new offense, woof, good luck. Good luck winning this year.
Well, we always knew they start out slow, and this was definitely a slow start. Like, if you're like, okay, guys, like you weren't even trying to get it in motion. Again, there's a lot of fog from a lot of teams, but this one, you're just like, oh, Cincy, like this was a struggle. You almost lost this game. Skin of your teeth, you got by it, but you eventually got the win, but it didn't look good at all, at all, at all. We're getting to some of the later slate of games. We'll start with the Titans and the Broncos. Cam Ward got his debut, but he loses. The Broncos win at home 20-12. RJ Harvey, 6 carries, 70 yards. Bo Nix didn't look that great. He was 25 for 40, 176 yards. Titans defense played pretty tough on them, but the Broncos defense was tougher. And Cortland Sutton had 6 receptions, 61 yards, and a touchdown in this one. I guess a lot of people thought they would put them away a bit more. 8 points. I think the lines were going up to 8.5, but they get the win, but it wasn't as big as you thought it would be.
No, it was it was a weird game. Like I felt bad for Cam Ward. He was just getting destroyed out there. It was a
Yeah.
really tough game, tough situation to be in, but it felt like he was getting no help from his team. Again, he's been very kind of under the radar. No one's really been talking about him, but I mean, it's hard to kind of give any opinion on him when you're going against that really tough Broncos D. But yeah, I think the story of the game was how bad the Broncos offense looked. They should have, again,
Yeah,
Bo Nix he couldn't do anything. He was dumping out, he was throwing ugly interceptions. Their running game looked a bit better with J.K. Dobbins and, Harvey. They both kind of had that
yeah,
1-2 punch. So I'm not going to read too much into it, but I think that was, if you're a Broncos fan, I think you got to be a bit concerned about the offense. You do have Cortland Sutton, but Marvin Mims, you don't really have a lot of dynamic weapons. Evan Ingram's your tight end. It's not this. Bo Nix is just going to be able to elevate these guys. I think Bo Nix needs better weapons around this. So I think Broncos going to be in a lot of tight games this year. I feel coming down to the wire.
yeah. You could see it when it was Cam Ward's dad, and because there's a lot of drop balls by Titans players, and a lot of time you see his
Yeah,
dad in the stands going, "What the hell is going on?"
yeah.
Like he was throwing some good balls, and they were just not. They had CD Lamb hands on this thing; they were not even catching anything. It was kind of embarrassing for him to think, actually, this guy showed some signs of life here, and the team kind of let him down in this one. So disappointing, but at the same time, there's stuff to build on for the Titans squad. You go, okay, yeah, we got thwarted a bit, but to your point, I think Broncos are going to struggle with it. Particularly in the wins, they're going to have to sneak a few through. Injuries aplenty again for them as they beat the Seattle Seahawks in a tight game, 17-13. Brock Purdy. I mean, I've got George Kittle in one of my fantasies. He goes down, and then
Yeah, me
you've
too.
got Jake Tongus. Tong gets 3 touchdowns in this one. McCaffrey, 22 carries, 69 yards, and Jigba, 9 receptions, 124 yards, and Purdy gets injured in this one, 26 for 35, 277 yards with 2 touchdowns. 49ers, once again, back foot with the injuries taking place for them. They go 1-0. Seahawks sort of struggled. Sam Darnold looked like Sam Darnold of old, but it was a small game, 17-13. Again, 30 points over under in this one.
And it's
Big defensive game and not a lot of opportunities.
now, is there a team doctor like Dr. Kevorkian or something? I don't know who they got working on these guys because the Niners every single year this happens. It's happening again this year. Luckily, the only guy who's playing who's actually out there who looked good and not
McCaffrey.
injured was Christian McCaffrey. Pearsall
Yeah.
looked quite good too. He had his moments, even that last touchdown Brock threw. He had some ugly balls, but he played again. He doesn't have a lot of weapons out there. He lost George Kittle right away, pretty much straight off
Mm-hmm.
the game. Kittle, it was his best weapon last year. No
Yep.
Ayuk, no Debo anymore. So it's like again, and it's not like you know Purdy's a first round pick brought in to carry the team. But on the
Yeah.
other end, you had Sam Darnold who couldn't even compete Purdy, and the guy who comes in with big
Yeah.
money after a big year. Again, they only really have a Jackson Smith and Jake, but they don't have, they got Walker and Charbonnet who are constantly, if you're in fantasy, you never know who to play because one's going to
Yeah.
always steal it over the edge. It must be, now I have Charbonnet, and I feel like if I put him in, that's going to be the Walker game. If I take him out, that'll be the Charbonnet game. So
Sorry.
that's going to be your life all year. To me, these are just always kind of close games, these Niners Seahawks games. I don't feel great about the Niners offense and the injuries that keep piling up. It's going to make it harder. But then again, I also don't feel great about the Seahawks, and I don't feel great about the Cardinals, and I don't really feel that great about the Rams, considering what I
Yeah.
saw. So, I mean, the division, this feels like it's going to be up for grabs completely, up in the open. This one's for the taker.
Yeah. Well, we'll go to that Rams game next because they won 14-9 together. Very defensive. Both teams looked limp in this one. Stafford goes over 60,000 yards finally. He's 21 for 29, 245 yards, 1 touchdown. Kyron Williams, 66 yards. Puka Nacua, 10 catches, 130 yards. The Texans just couldn't get anything going. Their running game looks stiff. The passing game, the 9 points they got all 9 points in the first half, field goals pretty much. So it just looked like Texans couldn't score if they tried.
It's just like you're just watching the Stroud boys, and they're
Yeah.
just falling off the planet. Like CJ Stroud, from when he went from a rookie, was just like this guy's going to be a superstar for the next couple of years. The way he's playing, I don't even know if he'll be a starter in a couple of years if he keeps
Yeah.
playing like this. Nico Collins, 25 yards. CJ Stroud, yeah, 188 and an interception. They have no real weapons, since they lost Tank Dell. Who they throwing to? Dalton Schultz, Xavier Hutchinson, Jaden Higgins.
Yeah.
Like they've kind of completely failed him. They've given him no offensive line. Chubb looked all right. Chubb had his couple
Yeah.
moments, which were all right. And that defense is basically just going to have to win it themselves every single week, and it's not really fair. And I don't know what you do. to fix this because you got to get if you're gonna save Stroud or pay him big money, you can't be paying him what like this is his third year. People, some Joe Burrow got paid after his third year. Some people get paid.
Yeah.
If this is what he's doing, he's not getting paid. He's gonna be into like 50-year option territory. So
Yeah.
I think again, I think just the Rams playing a tough defense. Stafford hurt, Puka looked great. Kyren Williams had his moments, but to me, this is just going to be the kind of the Puka Stafford show. And on the game against a really tough defense with a lot of kind of injury questions about Stafford, so I think that's a good win for the Rams. All things considered.
Is there one you got to take in something against a high
Yeah.
flying team like the Texans, who a lot of people thought would be good, but their defense kept them in the game. Stafford, didn't make too many crazy stupid decisions, but it's a solid win that you take. And as you say, especially when you've got the 49ers, you want to keep pace with them as well. Keeping pace is not something the Lions would do, as they looked really sad heading into Green Bay. Green Bay was all over them. Jordan Love, fast and furious in this one. It was 17-3 at the half, and then the Packers put on 10 points in the second half. Micah Parsons made his debut,
Yeah,
but the
they had a
Lions, to
sack.
me, it was just couldn't get their running game going, could barely pass. Jared Goff, he was 31 for 39, 225 yards, a lot of short checks. Sam Laporta was a big guy for them for 79 yards, but Josh Jacobs had a good game. Jordan Love spreads the ball around. The Lions obviously messing Ben Johnson because they
Yeah,
just
it
couldn't seem
looked
to
like
put
it.
some passes together, but their running game, Gibbs and Montgomery both just looked like they couldn't do anything. The Packers improved to 1-0 at home.
Yeah, it was funny. It was like before the Monday night game with the Bears, you were watching this Packers Lions game and being like, "Give Ben Johnson Coach of the Year already," because
Yeah,
look how bad. That's how bad Detroit looked. Detroit, look at you got Jahmyr Gibbs, 10 receptions, 30 yards. Every
yeah,
time I looked up and was watching this game, it was Jared Goff dump off. He would
mhm,
refuse to throw it past the first down marker. Every throw was behind it. They were punting nonstop. They looked completely lost, and their defense did as much as it can to kind of keep, it's not like
yeah,
the Packers stats are out of control, Jacobs had pretty good, Jordan Love only threw for 188. It wasn't, but they didn't need to. It was just kind of the Lions would just keep kicking it away and fumbling or just kicking it away or throwing a pick or just 3 and outs, 11 rushes, 25 yards for Montgomery, 9 for 19 for Gibbs. Like it was terrible. It was terrible. And the Packers do have a good defense. Yes, Micah Parsons looked good. I mean, I might gotta really readjust my expectations for Detroit because Dan Campbell is good enough to now coach his ass off. Because if this is what the offense looks like, Lions last year against Detroit, these games are shootouts. Lions are
yeah.
always putting up points, and they look lifeless on offense, absolutely lifeless. Even their offensive line looked bad. It was grim. So big win for the Packers. They're kind of now being like this division that you thought was going to be like all real battle. It might just
Yeah.
be the Packers to walk away with if everyone looks kind of the way they did the rest of them.
Yeah, it was very disappointing. I think they just didn't seem to be focused on the game. It didn't seem like it's like they were playing a preseason game. They're like, what are you guys doing? You just couldn't put it together. And so, Packers were able to run all over them. And I think there's going to be a lot of screaming. I'm sure there was a lot of screaming by Dan Campbell going, what the hell are we doing? How do we fix this? Well, we talk about the Sunday night game going
Okay.
into the fourth quarter. It was 34-19. And 16 points, 4 minutes. Bills come from behind. It's a
It was
thriller.
45-30 or something like that. It was 45, something like that.
30.
With four
Well, I
minutes,
think it was
they were
30.
down
Yeah,
15 with 4 minutes left. They were down 15 with
yeah.
four
It
minutes
was
left,
30. It
basically.
was 34-19 going into the
Okay.
fourth.
Going
And the
into
Bills
the
put
fourth,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, Bills put up 22 points in the fourth, and they put up 6. Josh Allen rallies. My girlfriend, it was her first NFL game she was ever watching. She just was screaming, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. This is so good." She thought Derrick Henry was amazing, which he
No.
was. 169 yards, 2 touchdowns until he fumbled. But Josh Allen rallies, gets it. How did you feel about this one?
I mean, listen, there was a moment in the game when it hit like 45-30 with the 4 minutes left that my
Yeah.
laptop, I slammed it shut. I slammed it shut in anger.
Okay.
I took a couple steps and I was like, oh, I got 20 minutes before I got to take the kids to school. Opened it back up. I was like, I'll just suffer through the rest of this garbage. And then what I
Yeah.
saw in those last 4 minutes, I was in shock. I was like, the kids have to go to school. And I was like, you're going to wait. If you're going to be late, you're going to
Yeah,
be
you're gonna
late.
be late today.
I don't care. You're gonna be late because I'm finishing this game. The thing that made me shocked me the most is that these are the games the Bills always lose. Bills are
Yeah.
always on the other end of these types of games, 13 seconds. It doesn't matter. If there's always a bad beat, it's either Baltimore and that Baltimore's taken the baton of bad beats from the Bills, it feels like. And that it just showed like, I mean, Josh Allen was incredible in those last 250 yards in the fourth quarter alone passing. The fact that they, are, and look, it was just through 3.5 quarters, I was like, this is the best team in football, the Ravens. Like they look
Yeah.
dominant. They look
Very
scary.
good.
And I was watching it being
Yeah.
like, oh, how are we going to beat this team? I can't watch Derrick Henry run for like 200 yards on the Bills anymore. He's done it
Yeah.
so many times in his career. It's like when I used to watch Gronk. It's just like, oh, this is going to be ugly. And it always is.
Hmm.
He was fantastic. Their defense, the secondary, which was their strong part, gave up 400 yards, though. I mean, they just
Yeah.
kind of couldn't get any pressure on Josh Allen. They like refused to blitz him, felt like. And then when they did, Josh Allen's one of the best in the league at doing the blitz. I thought the Bills' D was awful. But to me, it just shows that Josh Allen's just now taking another step. He's doing that thing that, you know, Mahomes used to do or Brady used to do. It's like it's 10 minutes, not over. Whenever I remember
Yeah.
watching Brady games, he'd be like, "It's not over. It's not over. He's
Yeah.
got 5 minutes." And as long as you can get that kind of confidence, this is a big game. These teams could be battling for the 1 seed. So, and I think to have this game on the Ravens with the Bills' schedule coming up, this is the hardest game they're going to have all year. And I'm not worried about the Ravens. I think they are still the best team in football. I still think they outplayed the Bills. The Bills just stole this one. It was a heist, absolute robbery, and I couldn't be happier to watch it.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy to watch. And as I said, just watching the turnaround and the Bills, just, it's funny watching the empty stands and just thinking of all the people in their cars driving home, listening to it going, God damn it.
Yeah.
But good for the Bills. A solid victory for the fans that stuck around. It was very good. And my girlfriend is now a Bills fan. She's definitely
Welcome.
not a Bears fan. She's definitely not a Bears fan after Monday night. As the Bears and the third quarter were leading 17-6. And you think, oh, we got this game. No. Hello, fourth quarter. J.J. McCarthy was looking like dumpster fire. He comes alive. Justin Jefferson was being held in check, and the Bears fell apart. There were some chances that we had to put it away, Furley put it away, but J.J. McCarthy wins Offensive Player of the Week in the NFC. Uh, able to put 21
Did he?
points.
Did he really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 21 points in the fourth quarter. 27 to
Jeez.
24.
What
The
is
Bears lose an edged one in this one. Josh Allen won the offensive player in the AFC. He
yeah.
won the NFC. Caleb
And
Williams was not looking good. Ben Johnson screaming on the sidelines for him, making some really stupid passes. I wish he would have painted his nails for this one, because maybe he could see where the ball was going. Just did not look like they had it. Scored in the first drive, and then the Bears fell apart in this one. Vikings take advantage of it and win by 3.
well, 10 minutes into the game, you're like, Ben Johnson's a genius. Like Caleb looked
Yeah.
awesome. 10 started out 10 for 10. He was moving around. The problem is, man, he throws the ball so hard in these short passes. He's got to learn how to put some touch on this. He's just trying to
Yeah.
blast. He's doing that thing where he just always just runs out of the pocket. He's just trying to sling it and show you how hard he can throw it. And it's just leading to incompletions all over the field. Easy passes. That one,
Yeah.
he's got to learn how to put some touch on this ball. We know you have a strong arm. His elusive, like he's incredible at avoiding those hits, but then
Yeah.
he takes a bad sack and gets a intentional grounding call. The Bears
Yeah.
D gets you a pick six. They did everything they could. They kept, Justin Jefferson in check pretty much. They kept the running game in check. And then they just kind of, the Bears did their thing that they do when it comes. And Ben Johnson couldn't get anything going. He made some bad coaching decisions, not kicking it through the end zone or something to kind of keep that last time out and
Yeah.
then letting Minnesota run it out, which then kind of killed the timeout. Lots of mistakes, and I think Bears fans watching, you're watching Justin Fields have putting up 30, and you're sitting there being like, when are we going to see something different?
Yeah.
Forgive and fake. You are playing the Vikings D. It's a tough defense. Flores is aggressive. He probably gave him looks he hasn't seen. I think, again, Ben Johnson up against Detroit next week is going to be really fun. Let's see what Caleb could do. I don't think it's panic meter time yet.
Yeah.
Fantasy wise, he put up 25 points. I think the thing that I thought was the most impressive with Caleb is he looked fast. He looked
Yeah.
like he could run really fast. And that's something I never really saw from him as much. It looks like he really gained some speed, kind of like Mahomes in the way Mahomes
Hmm.
just sneakily has 40 yards rushing every game. If you don't think about it. So I think just disappointing opening, great start, but I don't know. It's worrisome, but let's see how he looks next week. what I say.
Yeah, there was a lot of mistakes too. Like I was watching how many false starts we were having in the first half, and you're, God's sake, guys, like you were having it, and it's like
Yeah,
30
lots of
yards. You're getting a
penalties.
point. You're like, what are you doing? Like Jesus, man. Like this is, I get it. It's a big game, but this is you guys false starting. This is our own team false starting, and it was just. And I can imagine the coaching. I'm frustrated, yelling. Even my girlfriend's like, "Why do they keep doing that?" I'm like, "I wish I knew. I wish I knew why they keep
Yeah,
doing
lots of
these stupid
penalties
things."
there were.
So it was a really tough way. I mean, you're feeling good going into the first half, but also going, okay, making a lot of mistakes. And it didn't look like he was going to capitalize on it. And then it was a whole different JJ McCarthy going into the second half. He was all over the
Yeah.
place, throwing the ball around, making it look good. And it just felt like crap. Well, as promised, folks, we're going to do our Thursday night football prediction because we'll do another pick podcast coming up. And the Thursday night game is going to be a hootenanny. As Washington are 1-0, and they're heading into Lambeau, where Green Bay is 1-0. Green Bay is 3.5-point favorites in this one. 48 points is the over-under. Green Bay looked very good. Micah was happy. Everyone's showboating. But, still Jordan Love was still showing some signs of mistakes. So is this a Washington team who, choked out a crappy New York team? How are they going to face themselves against the Packers team at home? And how are the Packers defense going to struggle with Jaden Daniels, a running quarterback, which also has a lot of running in this game? How do you like Green Bay at home?
I like the Packers to win this. I think the Commanders didn't look great against the Giants. They had 21 points, but they weren't moving it that well. They had the new running back who looked quite good. But again, Debo had a really nice game. Is Debo going to be able to play like this for 18 games? He might have a really hot start, but Debo's going to wear down, especially if they use him as a running back sometimes. I think the Packers will be able to move the ball against the Commanders. I don't think the Commanders are a great defense. So the Packers at home, it's going to be a tough environment for Jaden Daniels, prime time. But so I think it's going to be a kind of close game. But again, I just think the Packers at home with Mike, he's going to now get kind of the prime time in the spotlight to kind of have that game. So I think Daniel's going to have it tough. Again, they're the kind of the regression team that everyone thinks. So I don't see him going 2-0. I'm going to go with Packers to win at 27-20.
Well, surprisingly, I'm going to take Washington. I like them. I like them in
Are
this
you
one.
going
I
to
think
pick the Packers to go?
I already did 0-200, but they can't now that they've already won one. But I like Washington in this one. I think this is one where they realize, okay, we got to get our crap together. They do have a good team. I think that they're really going to, it's a difference than a limp team like Detroit, who didn't really challenge them at all. And I can see McLaurin giving them some problems. Daniels running as well will have them, running and trying to chase after him. I like it. I like Washington to win this one. I've got them to win in a tight one, 23-21. Take the victory and hand those cheeseheads a loss. That's it for this week in this podcast and our results podcast. Folks, hope you like this one. Ryan and I will be back earlier or later this week where we do our picks because there's some great games coming up in week 2 and make sure we get those out there. And of course, the London games will be coming up soon. Folks, thanks a lot for listening. On behalf of Ryan and I, enjoy Thursday Night Football, and we'll be back again with more picks later this week.